I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think we'd see a Jujutsu Kaisen infection AU. I mean, we already did Smash Bros, How to Train Your Dragon, and One Piece. And all three of those were pretty crazy. But this is probably the craziest one I've done. Also, before we start, I just want to mention that this entire series was in Spanish, so I had to do all the translations myself. So not everything will be perfect, but I tried my best. I don't have much else to explain. Just sit back and relax as I cover Jujutsu Kaisen Zombies. In the middle of the battle between Yuji Itadori and Choso, loud screams can be heard, which distracts both characters. Choso thinks to himself in confusion because this isn't a part of Kenjaku's plan. Itadori decides to go check out the commotion, and Sukuna intrudes in and says the following to Yuji: "Brat, whatever is there is not human, nor a curse. Don't feel sorry for them." Right after this, Itadori freezes in shock as he is caught off guard by a zombie just towering over him. The zombie launches Itadori into a wall, and as that happens, dialogue from an unknown source appears. "You are something more than a special category curse. You are imperfect aberrations. Dismantle. I remind you of your position, strange thing. I'm above you all. Let the massacre begin." Sukuna then tells Yuji, "This is going to become a fair of agony, brat. I'm going to have fun watching you suffer." Just in the nick of time, Sukuna takes over and kills the zombie creeping up on him. The floor starts shaking, and then it eventually collapses, with Sukuna simply jumping over it. The zombie launches itself from the ground and charges at Sukuna. As he dodges, Sukuna says these words: "Itadori, I want to see your stupid face from seeing so many people disfigured." Somehow, the zombie takes a bite of Sukuna, surprising him and leading him to chop off his arm. Sukuna's arm starts to regenerate, and as that happens, we get a monologue from him. "It took me a while to regenerate. I have a bad feeling about everything that's happening. For a moment, it felt like my blood was boiling in my arm. I doubt it can infect me, but I'm not going to risk it too much. This isn't just curses fighting spellcasters anymore. Now try to overlook this judgment without presentations." Ino? Itadori takes over and sees that the zombie Sukuna just killed was none other than his friend, Ino. "Are they already human?" Itadori says to himself. We switch to Nobara, who started hearing the screaming as well, and she gets caught off guard by what appears to be a zombified Kokichi, though I could be wrong on that. The zombie chases after Nobara, but she's luckily saved in time by Nanami. Nanami urges for her to run away as far as possible, as there is something going on with the sorcerers. His speech is interrupted by something he heard from the lower level. He urges for her to run away as he deals with a new anomaly. 10 PM comes and we skip to Nobara asking Nanami about what's happening. "Nobara, I don't know what's happening. Out of nowhere, some people and curses started attacking each other. Some sorcerers ended up dead, and others are killing each other. I suppose this is an unknown virus or something like that. That's why I'll tell you for the last time, get out of there." Meanwhile, with the strongest sorcerer, we switch to the perspective of Gojo. "I have to stop this. There are people attacking each other, and special grade curses as well. I have no option but to use my domain expansion. I'm sorry, I won't be able to save them all." He feels he has no other options left than to use his domain expansion. He speaks to himself after killing a bunch of zombies. Some humans are disfigured, and by killing them, I can save the others. We switch back to Nobara and Nanami, where Nobara gets launched and her hand snaps off. All this is happening as Nanami is transforming into a zombie. My blood burns. I'm too hungry. Yuji comes across Nanami all zombified. He looks at his comrade in disgust, but Sukuna is trying to make sure that Itadori gets away for the sake of both of their safety. His eyes get shadowed as he says to himself, "I'm sorry, Nanami. I'm sorry for being late." Tears flow down Yuji's eyes and he decides to end Nanami's life. We're back to Gojo, struggling against the zombies. In his words, they are faster and have lost their patience. He kills some zombies before he decides to go outside in search of his students. Now we switch to Kenjaku, with text appearing all around him. What is happening? Dagon is nowhere. The curses are attacking each other. I have a bad feeling about this. Kenjaku starts to worry about two characters in particular, Megumi because of his 10 Shadows technique, and Maharaga. These two are potentially the most dangerous to become zombified. He sends Mahito and Jogo to look for Yuji, and for Gojo to bring the saved fingers. The duo starts heading towards Sukuna. In the meantime, Choso asks Kenjaku if they should help out, only for Kenjaku to say that they are strong. We see that Jogo gets dismembered as he fights a horde of zombies. He starts to beg for Mahito to unleash his domain expansion, which he does and kills a bunch of zombies. The clock reaches midnight and it starts to rain down on the two characters. "You're not interested in your life, right? I'm just having fun. Ah, how boring are you? Whatever, let's go before more come." We see Kusakabe and Inumaki in a dark area when all of a sudden a cursed spirit appears. Next we see multiple shots all focused in on Maharaga. We then see Toji and Megumi with a flashback of Megumi being bitten by Ino. No time to think, Maharaga. A segment plays out of Maharaga being summoned by Megumi. While that happens, the virus slowly starts to take over Megumi. A screen of text appears. Something was wrong. We then see a huge battle go on between Maharaga and Megumi, where Megumi bites Maharaga. More text appear. What the hell was I thinking? Toji jumps into the battle but just gets sent flying. I have no chance, the next screen of text says. Maharaga bites down on Toji's head, leaving him a deformed mess. We get another view of the result, but when we see Megumi, he thanks Maharaga for saving him. The narration says the following. After breaking that person's skull, Maharaga feels a presence too strong behind him. The changer gets too heavy like this, listening to someone's voice, rumbling the street full of infected. We then get an entire panel dedicated to Gojo's appearance. He has a stare down with Maharaga while the narration says this. Gojo's gaze shows only contempt, sadness, and anger. Gojo only has one goal in mind, revenge. He launches Maharaga towards some buildings, and then more infected appear. In the middle of the commotion, Maharaga charges at Gojo, surprising Gojo since he assumed he was dead. Wait a minute, did the wheel spin? Wow, you're too tough. Let's end this now. Out of nowhere, a mother appears holding a baby, asking Gojo to save her son. Just from behind, a zombie piercing bull shows up. What the fuck? Gojo says as he looks in despair. Now Gojo holds the baby and decides to retreat. It is here we learn that Maharaga has adapted to the virus. Both the bull and Maharaga charge at each other, to which Gojo dodges. Unfortunately, the mother gets crushed in the battle, and Gojo simply watches in shock. I can't save them all, he says. I'm sorry, little one, I couldn't save your mother. We see a silhouette of Megumi, and in the next panel, we see a zombified form. This of course shocks Gojo. Without much time to process the outcome, Maharaga attacks Gojo from behind. Gojo stares him down and punches Maharaga. Yuta appears and tells Megumi that he has to unfortunately kill him, but Megumi just teleports away. Gojo gives the baby to Yuta and tells him to get away so that Gojo can deal with the current threats. He then asks how strong Rika is, to which Yuta asks if the baby is his. With an embarrassed reaction, Gojo explains that he just rescued him. Gojo then decides to use his domain expansion, Unlimited Void, to fight Maharaga. Game over. I will finish you with one attack. Red and blue, everyone is within Satoru's domain, but someone is looking out. Nue flies down among the dark skies. We get a closer look at Nue's face, which just looks so horrifying. Maharaga then attacks Gojo. Gojo's eyes give off a shocked expression, with him in disbelief saying the word shit. Panels of Gojo all bloody appear as Ui sneaks up onto Gojo, biting him. Gojo has now become infected. The narration in the next page explains what happens. Satoru Gojo uses the RCT at full power, but the virus was already in his brain, causing a severe stroke. After that, his technique began to weaken. Gojo's brain, affected by the virus, can't fully regenerate. In his weakened state, he thinks about his students. Yuji and Yuta pop into the scene to look for Gojo. Yuta takes on the Shikigami, while Itadori focuses on Gojo. Sukuna whispers to Yuji that Gojo is infected, but in the following panel, Gojo tells Yuji to not worry about him, and that it's dangerous there. He then insists Yuji to save the surrounding people. All of a sudden, Gojo yells for Yuji to run away as he gets attacked by a zombified Ui. The following page talks about how Maharaga has adapted to infinity, with him creeping up on Itadori. Maharaga then knocks Yuji into the air. We get a perspective on Choso, realizing that something is wrong, and he starts to realize that he has a brother. We're back to Gojo, where he slams Ui into the ground. After that, he starts to become aware of his surroundings, where he sees Mei under the rubble. Maharaga jumps onto Yuji, who's already beaten and bloodied up. While that's happening, Jogo jumps into the scene and looks for Mahito. Some damage is dealt to Maharaga as Choso jumps into the scene. Choso begins to speak to himself. Itadori was my brother? Was he always my brother? That wretch made me fight my little brother. Geto, you're going to pay for it with your death, you damn son of a bitch. Jogo, Mahito, I must protect my brother from them, but first I'll have to get out of here. It won't be an easy task. He's smiling as if he's going to win. We cut back to Yuta fighting the Shikigami. He struggles, so he decides to call in Rika. You can see Yuta and Rika falling down. Right when it's happening, Yuta monologues. He's escaping. It doesn't matter. You condemned yourself, but I'm not going to deny it. That attack was as if you got hit by 20 beams at the same time. If I had not called Rika, I would have been dead, but you couldn't withstand your own attack. The amount of power couldn't withstand your body. Yuta begins to notice Gojo, who's holding onto Mei and slowly becoming a zombie. Gojo begins to tell Yuta this. Yuta, is that you? Well, maybe you already know what's happening to me. Look, Yuta, I know it's hard to accept, but you can't do anything. That's why I'm going to sacrifice myself to throw 300% purple without restrictions, thus taking me half a wave. I ask you to bring Mei to Shoko so that she can hear her. Don't follow me. I'm now a danger to you. Please, get out of here. Yuta yells back in response. Professor Gojo, I'm not stupid to believe that you're not concerned about your situation. Do you really think you can beat thousands of infected curses in that state? You always say it's okay. You're a human too. You don't always have to say that everything's okay when it's actually wrong. I care about you. You are someone important to me. I don't care if you are the strongest. You are still a human with feelings. Gojo gives his response. I am the strongest. My duty is to save you and protect the weak, but it's too late to worry about me. Everyone saw me as a weapon. They never cared about how I felt. The only one who understood me is no longer here. I am dead to you now. Goodbye, Yuta. Forgive me. I failed you all. I'm going to fix this by sacrificing my life. I'm sorry. We cut back to Choso fighting Maharaga, using his blood as a shield, though Maharaga lands a hit on him that sends him flying and makes Choso lose his arms. Choso reflects that he would have been killed if he hadn't made his shield. Maharaga jumps towards Choso and Choso calls up Itadori. Right when Maharaga is about to land a killing blow, Gojo jumps in. The panels become blue as Gojo starts to use his ability. It's becoming more and more difficult to become mentally well. Little by little, I'm losing control of my body. I need to hurry up. Infinity no longer has the same power as before. Wait a moment, is Maharaga adapting? No, Infinity is weakening very fast. A look of worry shows up on Gojo's face. His consciousness starts to talk to him. You have a lot of work you must finish. They trust you. You have to save them. Get a look of him all scarred up before his consciousness talks to him more. You can still rise, Satoru. Your time has not come. Do it for the fallen, for your students, for me. Satoru Gojo, get up. Wake up, Satoru. We first see Gojo's battered body. Then his eye begins to glow. Gojo's body, in an attempt to live, being in a practically critical condition. Gojo Satoru's production of cursed energy, as well as adrenaline, reached an even higher point than it should, now entering a state of absolute ecstasy, even greater than the one he had that time when he faced Toji Fushiguro. A short segment dedicated to Gojo's hollow purple starts to play out. 190%, 300%. I am the strongest today. Purple. The screen starts to flash white and we see multiple different perspectives. Is it serious? We then get another view of Gojo, seemingly woken up in a void. Satoru Gojo slowly rises. Now he has another perspective of the world. He has already lost his humanity. There is no one to stop him. Death reincarnated in the strongest. Judgment has already begun. Jogo takes a look around to see the unconscious bodies of Yuta and Yuji. He decides he needs to buy more time for them to wake up, because if those two die, then there's no one else left to stop Gojo. We see a streak of blue, then we get more up close with Gojo attacking Jogo. Jogo is now at the brink of death because of the attack, and Gojo in his zombified state stares down at Jogo before attacking him once again. Luckily, Jogo can dodge. 300%, I am the strongest of today. Gojo believed he had completely sacrificed the inverse inversal. However, what no one anticipated is that at the last second, the virus will act in a way never seen before, having found a very unique carrier. In order to favor even more efficient control, it would retain fragments of the carrier's consciousness, but use and influence them in its favor. The virus was already developing beforehand. This is why it was possible to use the reverse ritual when it was believed that it would permanently disable it, distorting Gojo's perception to make him believe that he had agreed to, when in reality he had altered the specifications and conditions of the contract. Given the risk of constantly being infected, a greater benefit was guaranteed. What he gave instead was disabling the ability of the reverse ritual to simply cure himself. Both characters unleashed their abilities on each other, but we get a look of terror in Jogo's face before we see him launched back. Gojo Satoru can still use his abilities. This time, Sukuna wakes up and notices some fingers on the ground. Of course, he decides to consume them, giving him 15 fingers. Sukuna then starts to notice Gojo fighting with Jogo. Jogo pierces Jogo like he was paper, splitting him in half. Without letting him breathe, Gojo throws himself again on Jogo's side. Jogo begs for his life before being slammed onto the ground. He starts coughing up blood, hoping that he had enough time. He apologized to Hanami and Dagon, but then Gojo starts to tear him apart. Gojo mercilessly dismembers Gojo without any bit of mercy, arms by arms, ripping his eye out, leaving him unrecognizable. Sukuna decides to approach Gojo. They stare at each other. Sukuna then makes the decision to go kill Gojo. I have to kill you, or at least hurt you a little. This is going from bad to worse. What's next? A curse capable of destroying Japan? It doesn't matter. I'll kill you anyway. Dismantle. Sukuna unleashes an attack onto Gojo, but Gojo just fights back, dismantling Sukuna's arms and his eye from his body. We can see Gojo's face, but the only thing recognizable about him are his eyes and hair. The word pathetic appears, and then Sukuna launches a sneak attack onto Gojo, where he then says, die. Gojo simply fights back, and Sukuna can't catch up. All in all, Gojo was simply too powerful for him. Yuta begins to wake up and tear up at the sight of his infected teacher. He still has hope that Gojo can be transformed back, though Gojo grabs Yuta by the mouth. Luckily, he is saved by Sukuna calling out Gojo's name, initiating what he calls the real fight. Something is wrong. Is he just playing? Right as Yuji gets hit in the face, Gojo directs his attention towards Yuta. There, Yuta starts to fight back. Yuta thinks whether or not he should dodge his attack, which just leads him to be thrown at Sukuna. Luckily, Rika grabs Gojo from behind. It's here Sukuna starts to think about how naive Yuta is being. Sukuna says this to Yuta: "If you keep acting like that, it's going to kill you. Do you still think you'll get it back?" Gojo approaches Yuta from behind. Afterwards, he uses 2 black flashes, both on Yuta and Yuji. Narration appears saying the following: Gojo Satoru is slowly getting out of control. After the 2 black flashes, Gojo Satoru has increased his curse energy. Yuta is recovering from Gojo's black flash. Sukuna is struggling to stay conscious. The others are already on their way. We then see Kenjaku and he says this: "Gojo Satoru won't be a hindrance for the moment. I just need to find Mahito and absorb him for my plan to be complete." We then get even more narration. The virus is spreading more and more, contaminating cities and rivers as well as the sea. Fear is increasing. Not even the world powers can do anything against the virus. A being is reported to be releasing a red liquid that spreads throughout the sea at a slow speed. The moon is seen with the naked eye. Sukuna with his face damaged after Gojo's black flash. He can't move any limb. His brain is recovering. The virus manipulates Gojo to get his full potential. They arrived at the location where the purple exploded and left a huge hole in the ground. Gojo throws Sukuna to Yuta and then throws red. Thanks to adrenaline, Yuta was able to match Gojo's speed for a few seconds. Yuta, in an attempt to save his teacher, tries to cure him with the reverse ritual. Yuta falls to the ground, almost dead, but when he wanted to heal his teacher, Gojo screamed in pain. He did a little damage to the virus, but he can't eliminate it. At an inconvenient time for Sukuna, Yuji starts to take over. He wakes up to see his teacher once again. We see Gojo unleash yet another attack before we enter Yuji's mind, with him calling out to Sukuna. He starts to beg for Sukuna to cure Gojo, as Yuji has already lost a lot at this point. Sukuna says this in response: "Ha ha ha, damn unfortunate. Do you think I'll do it? I'm really enjoying how they die and how Satoru Gojo dies, but what bothers me too much is teaming up with the insignificant sorcerers. If only I had my original body, I would have killed all of you fucking inferiors." Urame appears and gives Sukuna the other fingers. Sukuna now has 17 fingers, leaving him with 3 left to get his final form. He starts to ask Urame where Yuta is. Urame informs Sukuna about Yuta and the abilities he possesses. Sukuna then tells Urame to evacuate since Gojo is already here. They both start to lunge at each other. Right when Sukuna gets close, he uses his black flash ability, which sends Gojo off. Gojo fights back by using his blue curse technique. They start to charge at each other again. This time, they both use their domain expansion at the same time. Everything turns black until we see Sukuna's face again, looking all confused as to why everything was different. As the narration puts it, Gojo and Sukuna's dominance have collided, but Sukuna's dominance was superior to Gojo's. Satoru Gojo's domain was destroyed, but first, Gojo throws a red at the domain of Sukuna, thus destroying Sukuna's domain. Gojo's face completely rips off, and Sukuna uses his domain expansion, only for Gojo to choke Sukuna and use his domain expansion, Immeasurable Void. A timer starts. Sukuna no longer has a chance in Satoru Gojo's domain. Sukuna now looks in fear as Gojo walks towards him, and the timer starts to count down. And after 1,000 years, the King of Curses feels nostalgic, but along with this, immediately comes a feeling that he had long ago and left behind, being someone else's prey. Once Gojo gets closer, he bites Sukuna and rips a piece out of him. Unhappy, "I'll get out of here somehow. I'll make you suffer, Satoru Gojo. I'll make you suffer until the last scream you give." Now we focus to Mahito's perspective, with text detailing what's happening. After Mahito separated from the group and Jogo, he would try to survive the hordes. At first it was easy, but as he ran out of modified humans and used a second domain expansion, he ran out of options. At one point, Mahito tried to transmute the infected because he wanted to see if he could cure them, but when he tried anything other than destroying them, he simply couldn't. The path he saw when trying to transmute their souls was darkness. Mahito struggles to fight off the infected as he has no more energy left in him. An explosion happens and then Mahito starts to cry out for the names of Jogo, Dagon, Choso, and Geto as he gets trapped in a cursed spirit. He starts to cry to himself, "Geto, help me. Geto? I knew it. For a reason, I come from you." Geto finally appears and mutilates Mahito. After that, he has a speech. Perfect. Right now, I would have my plan completely, although I must admit that Satoru Gojo is still a problem. I think I'll use what I originally had saved. I just have to find him. We get even more narration. The damage and consequences are obvious. Order was completely lost, or at least what is believed. 1 hour and 12 minutes have passed since the strongest was infected. The fight between Satoru Gojo and Yomen Sukuna is currently developing. You see Todo and Sukuma watch in horror with everything going on after they've prevented a mass amount of zombies from escaping. It then cuts back to Sukuna and Gojo. Sukuna was about to complete 10 seconds inside the infinite void when domain expansion, mutual and true love, a hole formed in Satoru Gojo's barrier. We get a closer look at both of of their faces in the next panel, where then Sukuna starts to speak. What's up with that face? Let's turn up the damn rhythm. Satoru Gojo. Rika's text bubbles appear, calling out for Yuta. Their battle intensifies and Sukuna gives these words to Gojo. Don't you understand? I'll tell you again. She still remains at her maximum skill. The imminent danger of having Satoru Gojo in a one-on-one causes Rika to begin her awakening. Manifesting 100% of Rika brings several benefits, the main one being an external tank of cursed energy. Now Yuta, and it's a brief moment that Yuta Okatsu requires to recover his cursed energy reserves. Thank you, Rika. Thank you for giving me everything. Shit, this is too burdening. If it were not for Rika, my domination would have definitely gone. Satoru Gojo has not been able to overcome Yuta Okatsu's domain due to the hole present and the interference of the real one to prevent closing it. The ephemeral use of infinity is more than just that, the virus, showing signs of a mutation. Gojo punches Yuta and the narration continues again. 29 seconds. The timer has started for the infinite void beat mutual and true love in this domain clash. Ignoring physical wear and tear as well as pain, they have made this Satoru Gojo overcome any kind of past experience from the King of Curses. Even kings are capable of falling. Despite the circumstances, both Sukuna and Yuta still continue to persevere, yet the timer still goes down. Yuta then screams for Rika to leave as Gojo uses his blue ability to attack Yuta. Rika attacks Gojo and then Yuta takes the opportunity to strike at Gojo, which just causes Gojo to throw Yuta. Timer goes down second after second, and the two begin to worry about the fact they're running out of time. They both make the decision to reach Gojo's infinity, yet the timer still reaches 0. Right after they're close, we get one final panel, domain expansion. Our story is then left at a cliffhanger. That was fucking crazy. Could a lot of this fit into Jujutsu Kaisen canon? Maybe, maybe not. But it definitely does feel like I'm reading the manga. If you told me Gege made this entire thing, I'd believe you. An Infectionate who has never had me on the edge of my seat like this before. Like, we can't just be left on a cliffhanger. Villains becoming heroes, heroes becoming villains, everyone just fighting a common enemy. Yeah, that's what I like to see. The world of Jujutsu Kaisen is already terrifying enough. Now they somehow fit a zombie infection in there. I think my one criticism is that I would have preferred if we had more background, but other than that, I mean, this was pretty good. Gojo fans are probably losing their minds right now. Overall, a 15 out of 10 Infection AU. Take care of yourselves, and of course, as usual, please have yourselves a damn good one.